that in our business, we kind of get to do it how we want, and we get to like do what we love about the business. Like if there's something that's just dreadful, unless it's like talking to people, then you just don't do that. Okay. So the way you got to realize Sandy's system, I loved it. I'm looking at it saying, wow, that is super cool. But I didn't realize it this much, Sandy, but I think like you do. Like I love systems and
Hello?
having things in place, and this does this. I mean, you guys wouldn't believe,
Hello?
the stuff that my Apple Watch is reminding me of. I got all kinds of stuff going on now. But that is the reason why Sandy has that system, is because that satisfies her need for structure and organization. It's a great system, but that isn't the only way to do it. Okay, so you got to realize that even like you take somebody like Sharon Farrar's never had a customer paper. Like she just doesn't do it. Also, I know some people like Julie Herbst will print out in the beginning of the month everybody that's shipping that month, and then it's all printed out and ready to go. And then she can say, oh, on Monday, it's customer care day or whatever. And then she gets everybody for that week, and then she's done. Whereas another example from Sharon Farrar, who's a little less structured, it's not a bad thing, but Sharon Farrar's method is usually at about 11:30 p.m. at night. We're watching TV, and she's like, oh my gosh, somebody's going to ship. I bet they're going to ship. So she gets on the virtual office at 11:30 and says, all right, let me just delay them for a day or a week. And then eventually she gets around to texting them. And now, to her credit, nobody ships. I know some people in the business let people's order ships, which is like you might as well send them a postcard that says, "Hey, please cancel Juice Plus," because that's what they're going to do. So she never lets anybody ship. She'll just delay them if she forgot. And honestly, she doesn't really check until like I'm always surprised, that like it's 11 at night and it's coming, and there it is.
11 at night
Oh,
is to
wow.
make
So
sure nobody's shipping. Okay, it's not the actual customer care time. But so I can't even text anybody. That's what really stinks. So sometimes I send an email. But
Oh, that's good.
preferably I do some things during the day or on the fly. Sometimes I send a email to everybody. Sometimes I text them, but they don't get back with you right away. So then I always make sure they don't ship. So that's the nighttime thing, making sure. Or I haven't done what I was supposed to do during the day, so I make sure. But also the funny thing that he said about the watch, I cleared everything off my watch. I only want messages, phone, and calendar.
You have like no apps on it.
Like if you see my watch compared to his, I mean, I've just got messages and time. Well, anyway.
I'm pretty sure we didn't need to buy an Apple Watch for that.
No, I needed it in case I had to call while I was playing racquetball. That's it. But yeah. Anyway, yeah, make it your own way to treat your customers. Like if you feel like sometimes I feel like, oh my gosh, I've had these customers for 20 something years. I'm taking them out to lunch. And some people have very warm market, like Kristen William Winters. I know that you're out in Key West seeing your customers all the time. And so you don't have to like send a postcard every, 30 days or something. Everybody's got their different way of dealing with their customers. I feel like we all probably feel like we could do a better job. And I know somebody I was talking to this morning said, some of my customers are not, and we could talk about this. This would be a really good subject. The customers are saying, please delay. I'm not ready. Now, I don't get upset about that. I feel like it's a lot of juggling. I say, how's your supply? Your shipment set for this week? Is that a good date for you? I'm not counting on those dates that are in the system. I'm really not. I'm just saying, how's your supply? It's set to ship next week. Is that good? And then if they say no, I'm like, okay, I'll just call you in a couple weeks, or, I try to feel them out, or I'll say, okay, I mean, depending on what they said, I'll say, okay, I'll delay it for a month, or I'll check back in a week or two. They usually tell me, and I'm not hung up on whether they are on time, So just treat them like your friends too. Just, hey, how you doing with your supply? Just checking in. Are you ready for your next shipment? That's what I do. But if people are very inconsistent, it might be that they don't understand the value. So I think that would be a really good topic. Throw it back to you, Dougie. Oh, maybe he's disappeared. So who feels like they're really good at sharing the value of juice
All right, I'm back.
from the beginning or educating all along? I don't know what happened.
Wait, can we? Oh, I did a BRB. I thought somebody would help me there. But
Oh,
let's have either Stacy or Jennifer Crispin. Now, I just want to say, in defense of Sandy, like she put in there, that her system that she explained is from the Freedom Revolution. It's just that I've never known there was anybody other than maybe Brian Rose or something that actually does all the customer care that is recommended, which is awesome. It's probably a reason, it's good. I mean, you're great at it. Karen's great at it. It's great. So we're not saying that you shouldn't do all that. We're saying that we definitely don't do it at high of a level as Sandy and Karen and some others, but we just don't want you to get stressed out. There's some people on your teams that are doing this part-time, and if it comes down to it, if they're customer qualified, let's say they have 35 customers and all they do is really check on their orders and stuff, then just let them keep checking on the orders. I mean, I'm trying to save what Stacy sent me. So I'd love to hear from Stacy or Jennifer to explain what they've been doing, because they said they've been working hard to start new people off better with customer care. Anyone?
Stacy, you want to go or you want me to go?
Go ahead, Jen.
Okay, so I really like what they had out there in the Freedom Revolution, but what we have found with a lot of the things with Freedom Revolution is it still leaves a lot for interpretation. Whereas some of our brand new people, they would just get so hung up on not knowing what to say that then they're not following up with customers. So Stacy and I work together to kind of outline all of the different touch points. It's very similar to what's out there in the Freedom Revolution, but we actually put in videos to send them. In the first few weeks, we actually send them a video of Stacy talking about some ideas of how they remember to take their Juice Plus. And so these are super simple things that our brand new reps, when they have an order, we tell them to go put all these touch points in their calendar or in their phone calendar or in Teamsy, something that's going to pop up so that they know at day 7, I send this, I send customer 1 to this person. At day 14, I send this. And it's very copy and paste. So that way, if they don't have to think about it a lot, then they're just going to do it. So that's what we've been working on and just kind of refining what's out there in the Freedom Revolution.
Yeah, and then
Wow, I think that's great.
a lot of people, I know some people do this differently, but the organizational gurus would say a best practice would be to save your calendar for appointments, and tasks should go in your tasks. That way your calendar, because when I start putting all the things I got to remind myself of on my calendar, the calendar doesn't become a calendar anymore. You know what I mean? So having a task with a reminder will give you that to-do list that you really want.
And you can do that in Google Calendar. You can have tasks versus appointments. And for me, I use Teamsy. So I put all of these touch points, like I preload them for the full 4 months. And there's like 10 of them that we have out there. So it's more than just the 30 days. And what's cool about Teamsy, if anyone uses it, this is a brand new feature that they just set up that you can put multiple follow-ups. So you can preload it all the way out there. So then they just pop up when the time comes. So.
What's the guy that runs Teamsy again? Eric? Yeah, Eric. That might be a good email to him. I'm not in the Teamsy world anymore, but he should definitely, because since it's a smaller company, you can actually give him ideas. When you sign up Doug as a new customer, you should be able to assign to Doug a follow-up plan that just loads the dates in.
And that's what they just released. In fact, I remember
Oh, it's gonna do
talking to,
that? Oh,
Mhm.
good.
I talked to Eric actually about it last year when I was doing their boot camp. And in the last few months, it actually rolled out. So I preload all of the
Oh, cool.
follow-ups.
So when
And
you say preload, you're not going in and saying, okay, what is 7 weeks from now? What is 12 weeks from now? You're actually just hitting a button and it schedules them for you?
it's not that smart yet, but I just go out and say, okay, I create a follow-up for 1 week from now, a follow-up for 2 weeks from now, a follow-up for 3. And there's about
Okay.
10 that I just put out there, and I know it's customer 1 through 10. And I've got the scripts in there. So then I just copy and paste it. It makes it super simple. And then it's easy for brand new people, which means it's duplicatable. Because like you said, everyone's going to do this different, but we needed something very simple, because if we tell people to do it however they want when they're brand new reps, they're not going to do it. Or what I've seen, a lot of people just get too
Yeah,
in
you
their
just got to
head.
remember, I think it's important when just remember with your engineering coding brain that as you've already figured out, humans are not logical. They do weird stuff. And I'm telling you, there's some people that Teamzy actually, an organization actually demotivates them because they like the idea of being organized, but it's stressful. Anybody get stressed out about that kind of stuff? Like the work of doing all that? Give me a
Yep.
hand if you do.
Yep, yep,
I need to know. Okay.
Yeah, I
Got a
think
few
some
hands.
people like talking more than sitting and making it, you know what I mean? Like very detailed.
So I think making sure that they understand the value of when there's a new customer, you have to check in on them like once a week. For a while. When you have a new rep, you're basically going to do it with them for a couple of months. You know what I mean? So hold on a second. What? That's Ask Emma. That's her lunch. So I think just knowing that again, that's where there is interpretation in the Freedom Revolution, but that is going to allow for different methods to be put in place of how are you going to follow up. So I'm just saying from my experience of like managing people, people don't think the same as we do, as you do, or I do. And I love all that kind of stuff too. In fact, that's one of the reasons I try not to get too techie or complex. Like I love things like Teamzy, but then I always end up going away from them because it's like, I love organization way too much. Yeah. No, it's good. It's good for you. You just don't want to turn.
The thing to understand too is most of our new team members are not going to be willing to invest the time that it's going to take to do customer care. It's not until somebody really decides that, you know what, I want to do this. I'm going to build this as a business. I'm going to take it serious. I want to keep my customers. The majority of people, we're talking the high majority of people are just not going to do a whole lot with Juice Plus, and that's really going to include customer care. That's why they lose their customers and they end up back with just their family's orders, which is fine. They're just not wanting to move forward at that time. We won't say that they won't later on, but that's the far majority. That's mostly what our paychecks are built of if you look at mine and Sharon's checks. So it's great. It's totally fine. We don't have to have expectations for them. But for Jen and I that do want to provide exceptional care for our customers and those team members on our team that are serious about this and really treating it like a business, because those customers are part of your paycheck. Those customers are going to become part of your team. In the future, you want to take good care of them. You want to build good belief systems with them, and having a system in place that makes it easy to copy and paste, where I don't have to think about it. I'm much, much more likely to go there, retrieve that information and send it in a text versus having to think it through each time I sit down to do some customer care. And so that's really where we came up with these ideas with that. It's not for everyone. Most people won't, but for those of us on this call, we do care about having good customer care, and we do want to keep those customers. We do want to build a team and make a bigger impact. So having a good experience is really key to that. And hopefully this will just simplify it even more. I don't do a sheet for each customer, but I did when I was first starting. I really wanted to do right. I needed to learn how to structure my time. I needed to learn how to really do this more in a professional way. And so I did stick more to like what we called an organizational notebook. And I'm a paper person. I love the idea of Teamsy, but it's on the computer screen and I just kind of forget about it. And I just don't stick with it. So having something on paper, I do much better with, but Jen does much better on electronics. I mean, that's what she does, electronics. What, I sound like I'm my mother or something? Like digital. She does much better digital and like having some sort of digital platform. So it's not wrong either way. Like Doug is saying, it's just what are you actually going to do? Like this may not even work for you. You may want to print out the page on JP Startup that is the customer care and just print it out and then use that as conversation when you're going to text, or copy and paste it and put it all in the notes section in your phone so you don't ever have to go to that website again. Like whatever it is that's going to work for you, just do it. But we can avoid what seems harder or uncomfortable or what we don't really like, but this is a part of our business that's going to pay off, and it's worth our investment to do it, whatever that looks like.
That's good. That is some good stuff there. I was wondering if Karen could weigh in, because she's another good customer care person.
So I am, but I listen to all these ideas and I always think I need to simplify a little bit, because I do what Barb taught me years ago, and it's just, kind of like the creature of habit, right? Like I still do that just because that's in me. I do the postcards, and I have, I don't really do anything fancy on the postcards. I just mail the postcards out. It's really just more of a reminder, like, hey, if you're not remembering to take your Juice Plus, because those first 4 months are the most critical. And then I also have letters that I send out, and that's not duplicatable. I don't really tell my team unless they ask about it, because that's not, but I like sending it out to them, because I think people like to get mail. Nobody really gets mail anymore. I know text is easy, but I don't know. So I will say that I do text my customers a lot, not just for events. I just had this conversation with one of my team members the other day. Don't just text them about events. Don't just text them about, their orders getting ready to ship. Try and reach out with, and I think Sandy, touched on this the other day, reach out just to say hello, reach out, like probably on Monday, I'll be like, hey, I hope you guys are gonna have a great Thanksgiving. Here's a link to some recipes, in case you want to change it up a little bit, something like that. I know, years ago, and I keep saying I'm going to get back to doing this because people loved it. I used to send a little birthday card to all of the kids that were on the Children's Health Study. And I even still have little postcards that have little like knock knock jokes on the back, for the kids. So it was really more for like younger kids, not so much, teenagers and older. And then when somebody is finished with the Children's Health Study, I would always, I had bought a bunch of the Dr. Sears books, again, mostly for like little kids, and I would mail them as a congratulations for, completing the Children's Health Study. So just little gifts, little things like that too, I think go a long way.
Karen, no, I'm sorry. That was helpful. I'm sorry. I was just reading a direct message.
That's okay.
I wanted to hear what Michelle does too.
Well, I feel like I'm in the same category as Stacy almost, where there were a lot of things I implemented when I was new. And I did do the printout and listing the customer and keeping track of doing the customer survey we used to do. Was really on top of doing those surveys within 3 months. But as time has passed, how I do that has changed. And so now I realize a lot of my customers I'm connected to on Facebook. And so there's constant conversation going on with my customers. There's like a lot of engagement through my post on Facebook. And sometimes I'm not as structured. I'm like Sharon. I'm not as structured, but I'm always thinking of people. So sometimes I'll randomly send a message to my customer, or I'll invite them to an event. Like this time of year, there's so many amazing events that are, what do you call it? Enhancing the customer experience. So I share those events with them. Like we have this detox coming up and people just love this cranberry detox. That is something that I'll be sending out to all my customers. I just re-implemented doing a monthly newsletter. So just letting customers know, hey, I'm here for you if you need anything, and here's some of the events we have coming up. You can join in on that. So I do it slightly different. But I think what Sandy shared was an amazing system to get started, because if I was new, I would have latched onto that. It was kind of like what we had in the past. I used to have the folder, the binder, and then I would print out and I had it in my binder. So I had all my customers list together, but I don't do that as much anymore. I print up the genealogy and check what's going on that way. And I think as you evolve in this business, you tweak your business a little bit to go along with it. So that is me. I don't know if that's helpful or not.
Oh, it's good. I would say now if we, so the thing that Sharon and I were talking about yesterday quickly. So like what Sandy shared yesterday or Monday was from the Freedom Revolution, but I didn't even realize, I had to really think about it to realize that, because we don't do all of that for customer care, and so that was very thorough. It's very good. But so the question that we were saying is like, how much is enough? Like what is good enough for customer care? Because we could always say there's one more is better, right? So like whatever Sandy's doing, that's awesome. But what if she sent a bag of gummies every month? And maybe it's better. I mean, you're caring for them more. What if you sent them gift cards to go get a massage? You know what I mean? So it could get ridiculous. So at what point is enough? Or not, and what even defines enough? So I think the point is that we want to keep our customers happy. We want to keep educating them. We want to make sure, that we have high retention, Michelle. So Michelle, so I know you already kind of explained this, but so whatever you've come from and now to, what is the thing that's helping you with retention, better retention? Is it because you're doing it on Facebook, you said?
I'm sure that Facebook is helping me with my customer care, because people see me on there, they're commenting, or even when I do call them on the phone, they say, oh my gosh, I love everything you have going on. You're such an inspiration. And I'm just like, wow, like my Facebook is doing the work for me.
Mm-hmm.
So that helps a lot. And the ones that aren't on Facebook, I am mindful of those people too. That's why I'm like, I got to get back to doing a newsletter, because I know not all of my customers are on Facebook and seeing what's going on. So I do post in there. And sometimes when I remember, I post on WhatsApp status, which I never check. But sometimes if I remember something, I'll like post something on there, because if your customer's on WhatsApp and they check statuses, they kind of see something, they see what's going on. So yeah, I'm mindful of those that aren't on there, because I know they need to kind of see what's going on with me. So the newsletter, I'm hoping will fill those gaps, and then just conversations, because I reach out to every single one of them when I see the alert come up on in the virtual office that they're going to ship. And I say, hey, are you ready? How's everything going? So I feel like I do get caught up with them within that time. And honestly, sometimes I don't talk to them the entire 4 months because, but when I do, everyone is really like happy. Like the time goes by so fast. Maybe it's this year, but I feel like 4 months has felt like 1 month. So by the time I'm like, oh my gosh, do you realize? And they're like, I can't believe it, but send it on. And so we just have a whole catch-up session whenever I do connect.
You go ahead, Karen.
Now, I love that, because I think that's what I do, like, especially for customers. I have customers that have been on Juice Plus for years. So I don't think they need as much hand holding, it's just different. Customer care looks different for every customer. It really does. You can't, I don't think it's necessary to do, obviously after the first 4 months, I'm not sending letters anymore. I'm not doing the postcards. I'm not, doing all that. Facebook is great for a lot of it. I do try to, always like and comment on my customers' posts. You know, and I get a lot of action from them back too, but customer care looks different for the customers. It looks different from somebody who's brand new to somebody that I've had for 14 years. I mean, I literally do a text and I just don't, I think they're like, you know what, we love my Juice Plus, just text me when it's going to ship out. And I have been the rep that there's been shipments go out without me telling them, like life has just gotten in the way, and I've gone and all of a sudden I see, you know, Michelle Fletcher's Juice Plus is shipped and I'm like, oh my gosh. And but it's really once, and I hate to say it this way, not that you want that to happen, but if you have a customer that's been on Juice Plus for 8-10 years, it isn't an issue with them. More than likely they're, you know, they're consistent with their Juice Plus, or you just have to delay the next shipment a couple of months. So I think it just depends, you know.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I definitely like my new customers, like customers within the past 2 to 3 months. I am on top of them more. I am checking in. How's it going? Are you guys okay? You know, are you taking it consistently? I am more conscious of my newest customers, but the ones that I've had for years, there's definitely a difference in my customer care depending on how long I've had the customer.
And when you guys add somebody so you have a new customer, you would add them as a friend on Facebook. Do you put them as like see them first in your feed or just normal friend?
I just have them as a normal friend.
Okay. Cool.
And then I'm getting ready to.
Well, how do you do that?
I'm behind the 8 ball on the put them. I think there's a setting in there. I don't do it.
To do what?
Put them to show that they are the first ones in your feed.
Oh, not first, but
You can pick
But that you make sure you see them.
You can pick 50 people that you see more prominently than others. It says see first, or what's the other thing? When you go touch on the friend's little icon by their picture,
Oh,
you can
okay.
choose whether they're, you know, you see first or not.
Gotcha. Thank you.
yeah. It's a little harder than it used to be. You got to kind of look around for it.
Yeah.
I'm looking right now. Okay, I'll stop looking right now.
So does
We can find-
anybody feel uncomfortable with this conversation? Like, where do you stand on customer care? Like, how are you guys doing with that?
I'm curious to know if anyone's had any challenges with their customer follow-up calls. I did a customer care follow-up text to schedule calls with people. And I had a lady going back and forth like, this isn't working. I guess I'm looking for a miracle pill, blah, blah, blah. And finally, I just picked up the phone and we got on the phone and we got to the heart of the matter. Like, she just had very low self-esteem. It gave her an opportunity to just cry with someone. And like, she had surgery recently. So she explained that maybe anesthesia caused bloating of her belly, but she was like lacking a lot of confidence because she's like, I don't know if it's the age and feeling overweight. This is the heaviest I've ever been, but I guess I'm expecting a miracle from your pills. And I'm like, I go back to, this is why it's so important for us to explain and kind of give our disclosures. This is not a weight loss supplement. This is to help you get the proper nutrition to support any of your new healthy dietary goals. And I was able to calm her down and be supportive with her to the point where she relaxed and was like, you know what, I'm going to keep taking them. But has this happened to anyone else? I'm curious to see how you tackle that, because I mean, I don't know if I got lucky or if I just used my skills with calming her down, but what turned into what I thought was going to be a good customer call was like, I want quits. And I'm like, you've got 3 months of product still left, you know?
Well, you obviously did good. I mean, it comes back to the research and prevention and what's happening at the cellular level. Michelle says with therapy.
Yeah.
That's good.
It was a therapy.
That means that you don't need to take any abuse from anyone. That's one of the things, you know. I've only had 2 people that have ever yelled at me in 21 years, and I really don't want to ever talk to them. They're still customers, but you know, you got to calm them down. They're just hurting people hurt others. So, you know, it's not you. But no, it should be a good call. And you shouldn't be afraid. Like, especially if And so we used to just do phone calls, you know? So at 10 days, we call them up. Hey, how you doing with your Juice Plus? You should have received it by now. How are you taking it? So that's always good to do. And then once you've done that, then that leads to the next call, and it's not so hard. And that leads to the next call. The problem is when we get a customer and we haven't talked to them for 4 months, then it's awkward. So it's whatever you can do to keep in touch. So I'll tell you the general basic. Jennifer asked about what do we tell our new reps? Mostly I tell them add their person into the Facebook group, because they're going to be exposed to the community. They're going to be exposed to Juice Plus and the different products and the whole food type of learning. And then, you know, we talk about events on there, stuff like that. Like that's a minimum. Calling people by 4 months for sure is a minimum, but you should, you know, probably there's a whole outline that we get on our emails. So sometimes I don't delete those. And then as I'm driving or something, I'll remember, hey, I got that email, and I'll call and I'll say, how you doing with your Juice Plus? Or I'll just text them immediately. Like it says 30 days since you've got this order. And I'll think, oh, but I just talked to her, delete, you know, so I delete that off my email. So it's just a good check-in, those emails that we get from the company. If you're not getting those, then you want to get those. But also the customers are getting like 10 emails in their first 4 months. The
Yeah.
company is
Well, Sharon,
good
I have
about
a question.
helping us. Yes.
So first of all, how would they get, if they're not getting those emails, they need to check their email address. They need to call distributor support, you know, and
In
make
junk
sure that they,
mail. See if
what's
it's-
that?
See if it's in your junk mail.
Yeah, double check that. But then I was gonna say that we haven't really talked about this, Sharon, but we do more of a minimalist customer care. We're not doing postcards, we're not doing this and that. I mean, randomly once in a while there will be. But because the company is basically sending, isn't it, did you say 10?
Yeah.
10 different communications. I've always just figured everything that we're sending is kind of duplicating what's already happening. So I feel like they're still getting the information and stuff. And the most important thing is to not let them reorder. Now, I will say this, if you're talking to them regularly and texting and whatnot, you are building your relationship, which is going to make it better for when it's time to introduce the business. You go ahead, Sharon. I got a dog issue, and Paula's raising her hand.
Yes.
Well, before you move, okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, answer, Paula.
Well, I'll first say something. It's all also
Okay.
how you set it up when you get the order, you know, whether or not they understand that every day they don't have enough fruits and vegetables. It's like standing in front of an x-ray machine, whether they, you know, really understand. So if they've been to an event, they're going to be more solidified. So you're moving people from prospect to customer, but from customer to solidified customer by education. So you're always trying to invite them to an event that would meet their needs, or send them that next video. Like when you, like, I think Michelle said, you know, when she thinks of somebody, she'll just call them. Or if you think of it, if you watch a video and you think, oh, this person should watch that, that's what you should do with your customers. Always just trying to add that extra, I thought of you, but also education so that they don't quit, so that they are consistent, you know, stuff like that. And so Paula, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, my mom is like my customer. I'm a customer, but she don't get emails. She's on Facebook. I'm it. And she called me up and said, she said, I want the fruits. I don't want the vegetables. Just send me the fruits. And I don't see no changes. Nothing has changed. I feel the same. Blah, 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 blah. But I see the changes. So I had to tell my mom, well, this is what I've noticed that's changed. And then she said something like, well, yeah, okay, yeah, that has gotten better. Yeah. And I said, Mom, the whole reason why you started with Juice Plus is because you said you weren't getting enough vegetables in your diet. I'm not going to change it. It's going to stay the same. Just get the vegetables out the way when you're eating, and have the fruit, you know, when you want to have it, and stop eating it like it's candy. So my point was, they might not see the change, but if you see the change in that person, if you talk to them regularly, like I do with my mom, then you can point out what you've noticed a change has been, and then it might get their brain circulating to like, okay, maybe this does work. I do like it. She's on her 5th month now. And so, and my dad is starting to try it. So that's going to be good too. He might be a customer soon.
Awesome. Well, you asked the question, what challenge do you have? And one challenge that I had was actually making sure that that I'm in contact with them. They don't answer the phones anymore. Many people don't check their emails, and most of them are not on Facebook. So for me, it was texting. I would just text, hey, how are you? Just want to make sure, see how you're doing with your health journey with Juice Plus. And some of them don't respond. Most of them don't. However, some of them do respond and they say, oh, everything's fine. I'm doing just fine. And that's it. So for me, it's the cards every now and then, just a thinking of you. And one of the Juice Plus cards I find is helpful because there's not the kind of communication that, for instance, Michelle has, or that you, Sharon and Doug may have, because you know these people personally, you've met them, you've spent time with them, they're friends, they're actual friends. Most of my customers, 90% of my customers are total strangers. And, but they like hearing, some of them like hearing from me. So the other thing I do is I have a newsletter for customers that I always have a video of the month, and I only send it out once a month. I have a video of the month, and I use verbiage that says, aren't you glad this is in your body? And it's not a big, long newsletter. It's a few things. The most recent events that are coming up, for instance, I'll put those, the flyers in there and thank them for being a customer. So that's, it had been challenging just to stay in touch with everybody for those reasons, but the texting seems to work. And once in a while, between the texting, the newsletter, and the cards every now and then. And I have been thinking for my longer customers that I've had since I've started with the company. So I have one of my daughters is my wellness coordinator. So we've talked about this, and that's to get them a nice gift. And I keep talking about it and haven't done it yet. So thank you for reminding me to do better customer care.
Yeah, I think we're all getting more aware. I will say this for, customers are all different, like Karen said. So if you are meeting a lot of people through more of cold market, you're going to obviously have a different relationship with them than warm market. And I don't know where she went, but Jennifer, I'll tell you about this, but others might be into this kind of stuff too. There's a thing that we heard about from the GoPro conference that a lady uses a lot, and it's called ManyChat. So that's something, ManyChat is like one of those little chat robots, and you can use that on a business page. So if you just have the robot set up on your business page, it's really easy to, let's say I become a customer of Jennifer's. Jennifer could just simply add Doug into the new customer campaign. And that campaign is going to go, it might go for 4 months. It is going to send those messages automatically for you. And then if they answer back, it'll even notify you that they answered back. You can have automated responses on answering back. You can, I do a little bit of this with my Project Broadcast, where you guys get reminders for this. You guys typically just get a picture, and I use that one because it's all on text, but ManyChat is more focused on Messenger on Facebook, and it's cheaper, I believe. But I can send out a thing when I add a new person, I say, hey, welcome to the Team Transformers Juice Plus team. This is Sharon and Doug Farrar. This is how we're going to communicate with you guys. If you'd like to be reminded, respond with reminders. And then that puts them onto my reminders list. And then when I have a lunch and learn, they're on the list to get reminded. So you guys have all been a part of that kind of like marketing stuff. Anyway, that's kind of cool. I mean, it could work. I mean, so when I think of ManyChat, I'm like, yeah, I'd love to do ManyChat. That's awesome. It's just awesome. There's so my mind's going and so many things I could do. Like you could teach people how to be a new rep on ManyChat and all these different things. But I always come back to the same thing. There's plenty of people to talk to without it. And we have full customers, Sharon and I do, without sending postcards. So it's like, maybe why would we send postcards where everything's going great? You know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud a little bit.
Don't change a game that works.
Well,
That
at
is
one
true.
point,
Can I just share one thing that I forgot to share? That is, oh, okay.
We got you.
Last week, a person called me. Okay, last week, a person texted and said, please cancel my Vineyard Blend. And of course, I contacted her and said, oh, absolutely. You know, I'll show you how to do it on the website, or we can do it myself. And then, of course, I asked her why. And she says, well, I ordered the quad. I ordered everything because I was pregnant. But now that I'm not pregnant anymore, I think I don't need the berries because I get fruit. So, of course, we had that understanding. We had that conversation as to the benefits of the berries. And I said, now, if it's a financial thing, that's one thing. She says, oh, no. It's not financial. It's just that I thought that I was getting fruit already and I didn't need the berries. So now, of course, she doesn't want to change. She's going to keep it. But my point is that people, when information comes in and it's coming in and coming in, a lot of times it's just too much. And we can only absorb a little bit at a time. So if we're assuming that they really know the benefits of what they have, I think that's a mistake, because we shouldn't make any assumptions. We just continue to encourage them and give them more educational exposures, because I thought that I had made it clear when I told them, you know, the benefits of the Vineyard Blend, but in her mind, it was because she was pregnant. So I hope that was helpful.
Okay.
I think we have to always realize that people are getting billed monthly. And so objections are going to come up, and we've just got to be a little more proactive in making sure they understand why they're taking their Juice Plus, whether it's our mom. I mean, I've been through it all with both moms, you know, or any relative or any friend or, you know, whoever. You've got to just know there's going to be something that comes up because their bill is coming up all the time. They're always going to weigh, you know, which bills can they cut. And for me, it's never been on the chopping block. So you can always share your story or whatever, but you've got to really share education because it's not a vitamin and, you know, all that good stuff. Arlene, I would love to hear from you because she's really good. She's had customers forever, and I know she does a great job, like from the beginning. Arlene, can you share with us? Arlene? Did you hear me, Arlene?
What did you say? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
You've been called out because I know you do really good customer care and you've had probably the same customers for years.
Oh, yes, I do have the same.
So what do you do for customer care, and like even from the beginning, maybe when you talk to them? She talks to them a long time before she even signs them up. She signs them up for a lot of products. And then what do you do?
I just, I am not, you know, I don't do a good of a job like Sandy does, but I do talk to them often, and I have, you know, deep conversations with them, you know, follow up with what's going on in life. Most of the time we don't really talk about the product until it's time for it to come due, but I do keep up with them, life's changes, life's happenings, things like that. That's basically what I do. In fact, Thanksgiving is right around the corner, and every year I keep saying I'm going to send out something like what Jules does, and it just never happens for me. So
Yeah.
it is what it is.
For me, sometimes it doesn't. What about a video? Do you send them a video in the beginning? Do you send them videos throughout? Do you
I
invite
don't.
them?
I don't. I have them in my customer care Facebook page, my customer Facebook page. And if I do know something's going on with someone, I'll just make sure that week I repost a Juice Plus video. That's basically what I do. And I do know that Juice Plus is sending out other, like, I didn't realize it was 10 emails to them. So, and I think at the end of the email, it says, you know, your rep is Arlene Joseph. So I guess, you know, people kind of assume it's directly coming from us.
Mm-hmm.
So that's basically what I do. Nothing fancy. Just have, you know, I just have meaningful conversations and try to keep a good relationship with them.
Right. And when you have a salad jar party, you invite them over.
Yes.
You know, when
Yes.
that's happening, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
So can we go over, I know we got to finish soon. Going over to Nicole Medina, just to clarify. So I think this is what somebody was saying about Nicole Medina in the beginning, is that she has the planner, right? So when
I was late, so I probably missed that.
Okay.
Sorry.
So I'm the brand new customer. So once you sign me up as a customer, you get out your planner and you figure out the dates of when you're going to follow up, or do you put it on a certain day?
Or the roundabout, at least you know, just a general idea of timeline, so that way, because if I'm going to plan my week out, like say I do it Sunday nights, then I'll pencil it in for that week on that Sunday with just their name, like remember to check in with so-and-so. So then when I'm planning my week out, I'll know, okay, I have to check in with this, and this person, because I'm horrible at remembering. And I feel like if I plan it out months in advance, then I'm going to stay on track better.
Okay. That's good. I would do that in a reminder app or tasks. What do you do it on a calendar?
I'm one of those people that if I don't write it down, it does not stay in my brain.
So if it's on your reminders, the nice thing about that, let's say we make a reminder that's due December 1st. When December 1st comes, if I don't do it, then it's going to keep reminding me on the 2nd.
Okay.
And on the 3rd, you know what I mean? But on a calendar, it's just gone.
True.
It just went past, you know? Plus, like I said before, you probably want to, now you might have a time block in your calendar, Sunday nights, and within that time block, you know, you might want to put it in there or something, but
Right.
just want to be careful of filling up your calendar with a lot of tasks.
Her calendar, I think we talked about, Doug, was when she told me that, I was like, mind blown.
Yeah.
It was like a paper calendar, because I don't know how you are, but I'm also like a super visual person. So if I go to sit down and I have my little, you know, just like my notebook, and it says like during that week, you know, I have to follow up, or I have like to talk about day 7 content or script with Nicole because she's on that part. If I just wrote that down in advance, I would know without having to go back and like plan that week. You know what I mean? Maybe we're not saying it the right way.
No, it's good. It's good. Hey, it's anything that works for you.
Right.
You know, and that's the goal. The goal is that we contact our people. They know who we are. They're comfortable with us. And you'll know if when you go to check on their order is going to ship, if you have to introduce who you are, then we'll probably need to maybe step it up a little bit. But, you know, we don't need to be calling them every week either, forever.
Hey, Doug, I
Because-
have a question for you
Yeah.
about, can you tell me how Project Broadcast works? I know it's an email system that you put all of your contacts into, but how do you do it? Do you have to enter them in manually, or do you just upload it?
Hold on real quick. Screen 1, share. Okay, you're seeing this is ManyChat. Let's go to Project Broadcast. Okay, you guys
I
are
did
seeing
that
this, right?
I did that for a while. I found mobile text alerts to be simpler.
Well, here's
But,
the thing.
yeah.
On Project Broadcast, this phone number is not my phone number. So like right here, Sharon wrote back to me this morning. She wrote nice. Like I won't see that until the next time I go into Project Broadcast. I don't see any of this stuff. And you'll notice people say stop and things like that. So in order to get everything in here, what I did was I go to the virtual office, I download everything, then you have to import your contacts. So we import contacts. It has to be a CSV file. You've got to figure out the spreadsheet type stuff. And then it just imports them all. So then like Winters. So Kristen Winters, all I have is your name, your phone number. This imported at the time you're a QSC and you're level 4 from us. And you are team, these are tags that I added. You did a join us sponsor, you sponsored somebody and then come join us. You're SC and above for our special meetings, and then engaged is anybody that comes to these. So every once in a while I look on here and I'm like, so-and-so, I don't know if they're on my list, I just add them. Then we can also do a do not message. This is like when you say stop, then it'll add you to that, things like that. And then there's campaigns, which I like, it comes to, but then again, these are, this is like a new team member. So they get messages and it follows up a few days later and all that stuff. Now, with that said, I use it because I have about 700 contacts in there because it's the whole team. I don't even do it for customers yet. So it's the team. So let's imagine there's other options that you can get on your phone that are really simple and they're literally free once you buy the app. I'm spending over $100 a month on ManyChat, easy, on ManyChat, but on Project Broadcast because it costs money, especially when I'm sending pictures that cost more. So there's a thing on your phone where you can have like a list of all your customers. And then you could like send out a thing. Hey guys, I'm doing a special event Thursday night on Zoom. I'd love for everybody to come. So just click on the button below if you want to go, and it'll say like count me in, and then you get a thing back that says, oh, these are all the people that said count me in. Then you add them to the thing. So there's things like that called like Text Easy or Easy Text or something like that. All you got to do is say search on the App Store for mass texting, and that will give you what you want. Now, the reason why those are cheap is because all your messages are going to come from your phone number. So when I answer you back, you're going to get it in your text messages, which to me is a good thing on customers because you only have so many customers. But let's imagine I invite 500 people to the Lunch and Learn. Now I have one group chat that goes out, but then every time somebody answers me back, I'm getting a text message, and I just don't want to go. All right, we can talk more about that later. We need a quick share from Darby, who's back with us.
If you don't think customer service is important, Stacy and Gwen are still on. They refused to give me water. Now I had been on a ventilator for 7 days. So that means I was basically in a coma for 7 days. That's why my voice sounds like this. But I called 911 because they refused to give me, and police came to the hospital because they did not give me water. And I am very, very serious. So that's how important customer service is.
Well, I heard you called the police because you wanted an avocado.
Well, that's a rumor.
Was that a different call?
Well, no, but I was pretty upset that I didn't get an avocado. So, but I do now realize that I wasn't even tasting my food. That's how bad it was. Oh. I want you to know that this is a gift that's indescribable. To know that a gift of grace is so expansive and cannot be described in words. It's causing you to receive many gifts from heaven that are designed just for you. Be ready, for gifts shall appear in your life in various unexpected places that leave you blessed beyond words. And so what happened to me was it shored up, even though I could not service my customers. Last week, I will tell you, I couldn't remember my password on my phone, on my iPad. Gwen's laughing.
She was so mad.
She took me to my ATM machine. I couldn't remember my code to get into my ATM machine. So my brain is coming back thanks to Juice Plus. And so that's an indescribable gift. You just can't even tell. So I can't even tell you. I did have I have two single men that are on my customer list. One of them is a very, very close friend, and he actually lives in the Villages. And he says, I haven't got my new Just Plus order yet. What's up? So I had to drag myself to my computer and look, and he wasn't due to get his order until the 26th. I said, it's coming. So then there's another guy who goes to my church, and he started with just the Duo. And he's in his 50s. And he called me and he said, I got my order, but it's more than what I know that I've ordered. And I said, well, remember, he's never been married. He doesn't have a sister or brother that has children or grandchildren or anything. And so when we were talking about the child health study, there's a young man that lives down the street who went all the way to state in wrestling. And I said, you know, you could give your child health study to someone. And so I said, that extra product that you receive, that goes to the boy down the street. And he goes, oh, that's right.